My lords, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 16 of the passenger only series on Transport Fever 2. We're starting today just outside Thuddock Station looking on the northbound tracks. Hopefully we'll be able to see one of the new TGVs come thundering on through, which would be very pleasant if we do. I haven't checked where they are. We might have one nearby, we may not. So as you know, in the last episode we did unlock the TGV and we set it into service on our main line. Now, as we saw when we were doing the comparison between our existing or previous mainline trains and the TGV itself is very expensive to run at around about 7 million per year, I believe it was. Whereas our existing trains were somewhere in the region of 3 million, they were the in-city 125s. Now, I did wonder whether the increased maintenance costs for the TGV would lead to our mainline becoming non-profitable, or at the very best becoming a bit hit and miss, if you know what I mean, a bit on the edge between profitability and non-profitability. I'm very pleased to report that that isn't the case at all. If anything, they've become more profitable, which I guess does make some modicum of sense because they're able to get between the stations that little bit faster. So let's bring up the user interface then. So we're now in, well, we were just over 100 million cash flow. And that money that we spent to purchase the TGVs, I think it was about 275 million in total. We've more than got that money back. So let's start the date progression then. It looks like we're going to miss out on a TGV special appearance, unfortunately, but that's fine. So as we know, we kind of had if we'd have left it a little bit longer, look, there goes one of them now. Let's just have a look as she pulls out of Thuddock, heading towards Carlisle. Very nice indeed, and I do like the fact we have various trains in this in the one shot there. We have the rail bus, we have this fellow here, and of course the TGV. So it's nice to see those different train styles and locomotives. Anyway, as I was about to say, we kind of just aborted this construction project here up to Nuneaton, didn't we? We got all, well, I say we, I got all giddy about the appearance of the TGV and cut this short. So it would be remiss of us if we didn't finish this off. So we've got our stations. Obviously we got the line running to Boston last time out, and that's proving to be a decent enough line for us. As we can see, it's making about 5.5 million, and we've got pretty decent uptake on it already. We didn't do anything with Nuneaton aside from build their station, so what we'll do first of all today is do the approach tracks to Nuneaton, and then all we have to do is finalise the line construction between Nuneaton and Boston, and then we can amend our branch line to finally incorporate Nuneaton. So how do we want to do this? I'm trying to keep it a little different each and every time, just so we don't have that repetition. So let's see, well, why don't we go for something a little simple this time. Let's have that crossover there like that, with an immediate branch onto platform 4 like that. And then if we make this into a double slip switch, we can get out from Nuneaton onto the northbound tracks from platforms 4, 3 and 2, but not platform 1. So let's rectify that with a simple crossing point here. Aiming for about 50 miles per hour here, there we go. So that's fine. And as we're approaching Nuneaton, heading northbound, we can get to platform 1, we can get to 2, 3 and 4. So very simple and very straightforward that time, and again just keeping it a little bit different from our previous attempts. So now what we can do is run some tracks out from Nuneaton and connect them into this tunnel down here. So as we discovered last time out, we're going to have to curve and spiral up this hill because we couldn't do it in a straight shot because the gradient or the height change is far too excessive for our trains to successfully navigate. Let's see, could we connect now? No, we still would have too much slope. So I think what we might have to do, could we do a spiral? Like a helix sort of? Yeah, I suppose we could. So if we do that, and then come on over here, it's a bit odd, it's a bit weird and wonderful, and perhaps a bit overkill, but it's certainly something different. So yeah, let's have a spiral here. Now this is obviously very slow because I've had to keep it relatively tight, but now we should have no problem connecting to the tracks for Nuneaton, and there we go. So there's our ascent, our spiral up to the elevation level up there. And yeah, it's a bit unusual, but it does the job for us. And as I just said as well, it's something different, which is always nice, isn't it? Right, so let's continue, and all we have to do is just double track the rest of this spiral. And hopefully we can do this nicely. Oh, that's crossing over there, that's what's causing that problem. Okay, so let's do it piecemeal then, bit by bit. And there we go. And then over the bridge, like so. In fact, could we have that open rather than a tunnel? We probably can. So I think what we'll do is once we've finished the connection, and it would help if I didn't remove the connection, we may redo the tunnels aspect of this and have it opened to the elements, so to speak. So let's see, let's delete the tunnel, because it would be nice to have this all open, so if two trains are passing, you know, one going north and one going south, they can see each other as they traverse this helix, this spiral setup that we have here. So let me think about that. You're the internal track. Oh, and now you're saying there's too much slope, even though you were previously connected without issue. That's well, isn't that interesting? Anyway, let's just remove the tunnel. Okay, so we're going to have issues with the collisions here on the bridge. So what we might do then is let's just redo the bridge as well. Let's just get rid of all of this up until the point where it starts to run somewhat straight. So maybe about to there. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to say we can't just do this. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. No. Although that track is quite elevated, isn't it? So let's push that back a bit, even further. And let's see what we can do now. Can we connect that together? No, look at that. Even on maximum gradient, we're still some distance below the ground here. So we are going to have to bring the spiral back. And let's get it at least 50 miles an hour. So there. Again, let's remove the tunnel. So this is all open to the elements. And the idea here being you have a more panoramic view as you're using this tunnel. Can we remove that? Sorry, this spiral. Can we remove that? Yes, we can. Now, where are we? Can we now connect over to there? Okay, let's just change the bridge style here to that one, which has a smaller footprint. And let's see, are we where we need to be here? Let's just build it for now. And let's see what happens with that. That seems okay to me. It's got no complaints. Okay, so now we want to do the outer edge of this spiral, the outer arm, and just follow it all the way around. Okay, so we're having a bridge pillar collision here. In that case, what we may have to do is have the bridge as a stretch of single track, and then have the trains have to wait for one another if the bridge is occupied, and then they can go separate again after the bridge and connect in and carry on their merry way. Oh, there we go. Now what we can do as well is, well, we need to, well, you don't need to, but I want to, is perhaps we can level some of this off to open it out a little bit further. So if we were to do something like this and just remove the crest or the crown of the hill that is in the center of our spiral, like that, and then smooth it off a little bit more, like that. Okay, that wouldn't provide full visibility. What we can do though is coming from this side. We don't have to do it all, because otherwise we're going to end up with quite a sheer cliff when we get to the other tracks. But if we do that and then blend that off, that should open and increase the visibility, so the trains have a view of one another as they're travelling this new spiral we've created for them. What we can also do as well is using the asset eraser, just delete some of these trees here to really open it up. So apart from this crest here, which we can get rid of with the terrain tools by just stomping it down with the blending tool like so, and just having it slope off from the track edge. So that gives us a pretty nice view, doesn't it? As you're going up and down the spiral, you can see anybody else who happens to be using the spiral at the same time. There we go. So I can't say as I expected to be doing something like that today, but it gets us up to the height level we need in the shortest amount of space in terms of its overall ground footprint. Right, so now that that's done, we can just do some more blending along the edge of the tracks, just to tidy it up a little bit, and then we can look at doing some blocking signals. So let's go for, well, we're going to need a one-way signal for the station approach, so we'll put one there, and then just put a couple of blocks all the way down, bearing in mind, of course, we have the bridge upcoming, which is a stretch of single track. So we want to be careful as to how close we position our blocking signals to that bridge. So let's just do something like this for now. How close are we? We can squeeze one more block in there quite comfortably. So like there. And I think now we will have the bridge signal there and a bridge signal just there. And then it's just back to our routine blocks on the actual spiral approach itself. So nice and simple. And then we come to the tunnel, which is not very long, so we won't bother having any block signals inside the tunnel itself. And now we're approaching the station approach, so we want a one-way signal there. Now what we can do is not only do the gantry at some point for both of these stations, but we can put some controlling signals down here, provided that they are bi-directional. So we could do this, and there's no other crossing points, so our trains can come as far as this before they might have to wait for clearance in this block here. And then what we also want to do as well, in fact we may as well do the same on the opposing side as we're heading southbound from Boston. So we can put a signal there and there, and this bit now is going to be one way. Yes, that's correct. So that can be a one-way signal. And that's going to be two-way, but we don't want to have them opposing and then having trains stand off from one another. So now we can do our overhead gantries at both of these stations, and this shouldn't take too long. We're quite accustomed to how to set it up now. So left stand, and then right stand and right stand. Because none of these platforms are directional, like they are on the mainline stations for instance, we don't need to bother with the reverse gantries. They all want to be aiming towards the platform itself. So there and there. And then let's quickly hop up to Nuneaton and quickly repeat the process. So right stand and right stand, and then we want to go left stand and left stand. And with that being done, we can now do the overhead signals on these gantries, and we do want to make sure these are bi-directional. So we'll have a set of 4 just there. Head down to Boston, just switch around the camera orientation. A set of 4 there, And then finally, we want to set off 4 over here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Perfect. So now what we can do is, before we set up or extend the line to incorporate Nuneaton, is we'll give Nuneaton a very simple bus loop. So 1 by the station, and then make your circuit around the town, and we'll keep these stops fairly spaced out, and then they should encourage to loop nicely. So let's go for a new line, and this will loop all the way around. Very straightforward. Excellent. And this will be the Nuneaton bus loop 01. And there we go. So the final thing we want to do is build ourselves a road depot, and we'll put it just there. Once again, we'll use the BK670, and I think I might go for 4 this time out because the town is a little bit larger than Boston. I may be being optimistic there, but what the heck. And I completely forgot to get that mod, what I was talking about in the previous episode, so I must make a reminder to myself to actually do that at some point. Anyway, now that we have a way for the passengers to get to and from the station, there's nothing stopping us from extending the branch. So no, we don't want to configure the station. We want to go here, manage the line, and then after Boston we want to send you up to Nuneaton, and then after Nuneaton make sure you come back to Boston, and ideally be on a different platform. Now we could have these as directional, but we won't bother. And then Boston back to Lowestoft, then back to your origin at Sheffield. Everybody's happy. We've already got Nuneaton incorporated into the line name, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay, so I think what we will do now is, because we unlocked the Einheitswagen 4, I couldn't immediately think of the German 4-4 off the top of my head. Off the top of my head, I do know what it is, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. But what we'll do is we'll have a look at maybe modernising some more of our services. And I think the big one that sticks out for me is potentially this fellow here, which is the Carlisle Leeds Staveley Thud at Hull branch, because we're still running Steam and it's in 1982 now. So let's manage these and we'll do a double comparison. So the first thing you want to do is swap out the locomotive. Now what do we want to use? Do we want to use a multi-unit and use the In-City 125 on this service? We could do. It's an option. I think if we are going to go down that avenue, what we'll do first of all is just close all of that down, go to the line statistics and just organise these by rate, but not the buses. Well, look at that, 543 people. Is that, yeah, approximate annual throughput per station. Anyway, by train, so obviously we know the main line. This one shifts 195 people per station per year. So maybe using the In-City 125 on this service is going to be an option. Let's have a look here. Manage the vehicles. You only have 3 of them. Well, why not? I do like the In-City 125. It's one of the many trains that I had as part of a train set when I was much younger. So let's add that on. Quite costly to do this. Capacity wise, what are we looking at initially? About 80, so we're increasing the capacity and the speed. So yeah, let's have the In-City 125s now run the Poole Carlisle Express line. And then now we'll go back to this one, and because we know we're not going to be using the multi-unit this time, let's just manage vehicles. Where's the manage vehicles window? Oh, it's hidden down here. Now we can do the comparison we want to do. So locomotives, we don't want steam, and look at that, we've lost the Scotsman, it's gone, rest in peace. Let's see, that one's quite nice, but it's also quite costly. Let's have just a quick look at how this would perform. Now, as we saw, this one does shift quite a few people per year, so we might want to extend its overall capacity. So we are running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carriages in the consist as things stand. And that would be too long for our stations. 230 meters, and it's got a good rating. 176 capacity. Might be a little too much, do we think? 176. In fact, what we'll do, again, just keep opening and closing everything down. Where do we have a lot of people waiting? Well, this one's got quite a few at Carlisle. Yeah, same at Leeds, so you're popular at Leeds. What about at Thurrock Euston? Not so much, but we might just had a departure from there. What was that one? Maybe not that one. And do you go to Sheffield? Yes, you do. Yeah, not the greatest amount there. Look at that one, 89 already. That's quite good. Right, so let's see. What? Oh, you're using those rail buses. You really want to be modernised. So let's replace you. Let's have... I think for this one, we'll stick with an 87 mile an hour train, because what do these top out at? Let's have a look. Details. Does it say your max speed on here anywhere? 78. So yeah, this would be an upgrade on this, even though we're only at 87 out of a potential 124. But we can always use the Einheitswagen 2 or the Einheitswagen 2, and I promise that's the last time I will butcher the German language in this video. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 84 capacity. Let's go for 105. Replace. There's only 2 of them on the service anyway, so let's replace them. Colour them. Is it that one? No, it's a bit... Is it more like that one? Yeah. So we'll do that. And then this one, we will finally do this one. What we will do here is use these ones. I think we'll increase, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll go for an extra 2 coaches. And then we'll use the 103.1, which is a very nice train indeed. In fact, can we squeeze in one more without losing the excellent rating? No, we can't. Let's just run it at that, and that's still a very impressive train. 143 million, give or take. So let's do that, and you're the plum sort of colour, which is... I don't know, is it that one? Yes, I think it is. Being colourblind is fantastic at times. So that's 2 of our services now modernised, and we can see the fruits of our labour right here. Looks a much more impressive train than it did previously, although it is a shame to see the mallard disappear from the map. And for the other one, which we had... Is it you here? No, you're not the one I'm looking for. I guess you're one of the... No, you're a multi-unit. Is it? No, you're also a multi-unit. Where's the one that was running the rail buses? It was down here. Where do you come from? You come from Leeds. Is it you? Yes. Yeah, much better than the early rail bus. If I... Well, that's obviously subject to opinion, but I do much prefer this. Should you be on that line? Yeah, you're kind of blocking up the main line if you are. Can we reroute you? Is it a double slip switch? If it is... No, that's why you're not. Well, fine, you can stay on that line. It's not as if you're travelling... Oh no, yeah, you're not too far. So if it holds a TGV up, it's not going to be forever and a day. Now, I did spot, and I'm sure a lot of you did spot this as well if you stuck around for the cab ride at the end, that we have an issue in Thurrock Euston where the station building has just swallowed half of the platform. I'm still undecided as to whether I can overlook that for the sake of having quite a unique station frontage here, or do I want to swap it out? Is it going to bug me too much? As I said, at this moment I am 50-50. I'll leave it up to you guys. What do you think? Should we swap the station building out so we don't have this overlap here? Or should we just keep it and just bear with it, so to speak? Let me know. Anywho, I think that's where we'll leave it for today. So what we'll do, we'll take a ride on these new well, they're not new for this episode, but we haven't yet ridden on this branch service. Thankfully, or fortunately, we do have a train about to arrive in Nuneaton. So what we'll do is we'll take this service. We'll at least go to... Is it going to be too long to go to Sheffield? How long? No, I think that's fine. Yeah, we'll go all the way through to Sheffield, and then obviously it is viewers' discretion as to at what point they wish to disembark. If we go with the terminology. Anyway, let's just fast forward it, get on board. Everything's paused, so we're not going to have any unlocks here. And here we go. So I hope you've enjoyed the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, a very special thank you to my Patreon supporters. However, for now, all that remains for me to say is, as always, take very good care of yourselves. It's ta-ta for now.